Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening and welcome to a meeting of the Ulysses Town Board. I will call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. on March 10th, 2026. May I please have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Boggs.
Present.
Ms. Olson.
Here.
Mr. Manley.
Present.
Ms. Weatherby.
Here.
Okay, the one handed out tonight and posted earlier today. There was also an agenda post on Friday. There are two small items under new business that I added earlier today, related to a gatekeeper approval for United Way and a letter regarding financial services for a member of someone that we appointed to our finance committee. Are there any other changes, additions, subtractions needed on the agenda?
No.
Great. Accept the motion to approve. That's
Move to
presented.
approve as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Beginning of the meeting, we start off with privilege of the floor. Anyone present is welcomed up to 3 minutes. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Please come up and grab the word.
Everybody, I've been here at this table for the last couple of months, and I wanted to come and just make a statement. As you know, I've resigned from the town board. I started as the director of the Ithaca Tompkins County Transportation Council in the fall. And as I've gotten more into that role, I've come to fully appreciate the scope of the responsibilities, which involve federal transportation funding, coordinating with multiple municipalities across the county around project development funding, planning, and also more fully appreciate the need to kind of separate professional responsibilities from elected service. So I realized the best way to do that is for me to resign from the town board, unfortunately. And I just want to emphasize that it's all me. Like there was no issue I was responding to. It was really just kind of looking ahead and trying to be very proactive and thoughtful. I will miss being around this table with you all, I have to say. So I mean, short timer, right? I wasn't here very long, but definitely enjoyed working with all of you. Definitely, feeling energized by the work of the board and what's ahead and all the good things that are going on. Huge announcement yesterday. Congratulations on the naming of the new park, and lots more good stuff to come. And I mean this very sincerely. I would like to stay involved, wearing a different hat, and so I think you'll continue to see me around town. And thank you for everything you're doing ongoing to serve the residents of Ulysses. And I'm sorry I won't be around the table with them to do it in that way, but hopefully in other ways.
Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I have lots of ideas for how to work with ITCTC. So
As I said you on the phone, put me in, coach.
you got a deal. Thank you. There doesn't seem like we have anybody online. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anybody else in person who wishes to address the town board? Nope. Hold on.
Well, we have a glitch that will probably happen several times tonight. Our IT person's gonna help us figure it out tomorrow.
Sounds good. Is there anybody else, who wishes to address the town board? Privilege of the floor. Okay, then we can move on. Our first presentation tonight. Very pleased to welcome Marissa Nolan from Cornell Cooperative Extension, the Citizens Pruners Program. Thank you so much for coming out. And we arranged the weather just for you because we're all ready to be thinking spring thoughts.
Yeah, it's a great day to do some pruning. I did print out the thing that I sent to Carissa, to Caitlin.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Marissa Nolan. I'm with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Tompkins County, and to do a very brief summary of the Citizens Pruner Program, it's something that started in Ithaca more than 30 years ago, and in 2024, we thought to expand it to another municipality in Tompkins County, and Shermansburg and Ulysses volunteered. So thank you very much for volunteering to be our first test case of doing that. Also, I have a cough. I'm not infectious. It's just a lingering cough. But excuse me for all the times I'm gonna have to pause to have like that. So we started this in 2024. Last year was our second year of doing it. We have right now currently 6 registered volunteers. It may not sound like a lot of people, but we only have about, I think it's like 12 to 15 with the Ithaca program. So proportionality, we actually have a really good group, considering the discrepancies in the population of Ithaca and Ulysses. And we had 5 work days last year. And those included working at the town hall, starting at this building, did a lot of the shrubs that were sort of overtaking the windows. We worked at the village hall and the main street of Shermansburg, focusing on all of those smaller trees that really needed to like kind of be kept in shape. We worked at the water tower park, and then we did a longer work day on a Saturday that was in the Habitat Nature Preserve. So that was mostly getting stuff away from the trails, but also a lot of invasive species removal. So Citizen Rooters normally is focusing on tree care, making sure that the trees are kept, away from overhead lines and away from people walking on the sidewalk, and making sure that things aren't dropping out of them. But with the habitat, it's just that there's a lot of invasive stuff in there. So it's mostly just cutting stuff back as much as possible, not really focusing on doing things so for the health of the trees, because they're invasive trees and we would love it actually if they kind of died back. We actually also had some weed wrenches, which you can rip out invasives with that. So we were able to use some of those. So that was a fun work day that we had. You can see some of the photos on the sheet that I passed around. So those are all from the work day that we had along Main Street. That's apparently the day that I remember to take pictures. And so you can kind of see the tools that we're working with. The volunteers are all doing non-mechanized tools like overhead pull saws, loppers. And so they're doing things that take a little bit more time. So the DPW, they're a little bit stressed for time with all the stuff they have to get done. So they don't really have the time to sit there with an actual non-powered handsaw and do all the cuts that maybe are going to be better for the tree. So that's why that's where our lovely volunteers come in and kind of make sure that they can sit there and not have to worry about getting stuff done in a certain amount of time. And you can see the debris truck that Dusty gave for us to put all our debris in. So that was just the work day that we had along Main Street. And there was 4 of us that day. And you can see that the truck is overflowing with debris. So it's kind of surprising how much stuff you can get done with a small amount of people in a small amount of time. And you can see at the bottom, I talked about how many hours we had. So just within 2025, we had 35 hours of volunteer time between all of our volunteers. That doesn't include any of my time. According to the national volunteer rate for that year, which is 31, I think, it was a little over $1,200 in value of their time. And so we have Citizen Careers classes are happening again in the spring. So this is something that goes on every spring. We host with the City of Ithaca Forestry Department these classes on pruning down at our office in Ithaca, but they're available online so people can join remotely. They're also recorded so people can watch them later. We encourage anyone that's interested in volunteering to take the classes, but it's not a requirement. If you have a background in pruning, we allow you to come. And if you don't, then you can watch it at your leisure, or we can kind of give you some more hands-on tips when you come to the actual pruning sessions. So we have those scheduled beginning April 7th. All of the information is on our website. If you just go to our cctompkins.org/events, our events page, you can find them all listed there. So we do have one in-person day. It's a hands-on session on May 5th. So that one is the only one you have to actually go down into Ithaca for. But that's a great one. People actually get to try out the tools. So a lot of times people maybe are used to handsaws or loppers, but they haven't used a lot of the pull tools or like the weed wrenches. And so they get to kind of test these out. So I mentioned if you want to be a volunteer, you don't have to go to these. You also don't have to be a volunteer if you want to come to these classes. So most of the trees within Tompkins County are not on municipal property. And so to make sure that we have the most amount of trees that are cared for the best, we offer it up to anybody that is interested. So most of the people that come to classes don't end up volunteering. But then we figure, they're taking care of trees properly on their property. We basically can take care of trees between the dock and the road, that patch of grass, and then the homeowner has everything else. So, there's a lot of potential in ways that people interact with trees on homeowners' properties as well. So we want to make sure that they're also taken care of. So that's kind of, and then one else thing to mention is, so I said we had 5 work days. We had 6 one scheduled. That was supposed to be helping the Jacksonville Park. They were going to do a cleanup in the fall, but they didn't end up getting it scheduled until like a couple days beforehand, or at least I didn't find out that it was scheduled until a couple days beforehand. So our volunteers weren't able to make it. So I've been working with Scott to replace that work day still. Because it's still great. It's really great pruning time actually is the winter. Just it's harder to get volunteers out. And we've done this before. We did a work day last winter in the habitat during like a snowstorm. So we talked about doing Smith Woods, but the tree committee said there really wasn't much going on there right now that like needed a whole slew of volunteers. So we've talked about doing either the school or maybe doing one of the cemeteries around town. And then I've been in contact with the Jacksonville Park again, and they're planning a spring cleanup sometime in April. I'm looking to hear back on a set date for that, and hopefully we can actually go to that one as well. So that would, we finally get over there, because we've been trying to get over there since last year. Yeah, so any questions that you have?
Questions about ages of your volunteers. I currently work with Cub Scouts, but we're working to do, grow a scouting program. I know
Yeah.
there are several other scouting programs looking for service work and looking for volunteer opportunities, and students as well in the high schools and middle schools. Curious what you're looking to train and what your limits might be.
Yeah. Under 18 volunteers is a little bit hazy right now. We're trying to figure that out as an organization, because we have that come across sometimes.
Sure.
We have had work days with something like a scout group, and I think that's a little bit different because it's like an organization. We just kind of partner with the organization. So definitely if that is of interest, you can let me know, and we can also find something that's maybe, like invasive removal that's a little bit less meticulous, or they're not using like the same tools. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of 4-H volunteering that happens with kids. I think we just have to enroll them in a different way.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely a possibility.
Have you talked to Rachel Kennedy at all too? Because she runs our youth programs here, and she does service learning with our high school population in particular.
Yeah.
And I imagine that I could see a group really being interested in something like that. So I'll connect the two of you, and if something works out at some point, it might be a fun collaboration,
No,
because they're enrolled through us.
okay.
So we have like so they're again like they're an official group, not just random kids showing up.
Yeah. No, I think that would work out well.
I will connect both.
Okay.
I was thinking that too.
Excellent. Any other questions? Well, our cemeteries need lots of help, so I'm delighted to hear you're going to come to our cemeteries.
Yeah. Really like walking around in the cemetery. That would be great.
Awesome. Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Out of respect, so our county legislator, Rachel sent in a report, and so because she's not, I'm hoping that it would be okay with everybody if we bump up the presentation from MRB on hydrology, because we also have staff spots here for that. I mean, I know he loves sitting through all of the meetings, but I know he's here particularly for this one. So please come up, Matt.
Is it okay if I'm set up over here?
Oh, absolutely. Let's see if we can get you on screen. Yep, you're on, so you're good.
For at least a little bit.
Yeah. All right, so thanks for having me today. Provided a proposal for the middle of the road culvert and new face at the board. So back in 2024, MRB helped develop a engineering report that looked at 5 or 6 priority culverts throughout the town. We evaluated, made recommendations for improvement. We went and did site visits, walked through all the culverts, took pictures, documented conditions, looked at flows and how they would handle different storm events. From there, we've been working with the town and developing a proposed approach on essentially checking off one culvert at a time, applying for funding. And to date, Garrett Road and Agard Road both have received grant awards for the WQIP program, which is the Water Quality Improvement Program through New York State DEC. That total is about $1.37 million. None of the improvements have been made yet, but that's part of the game plan that's been occurring. Some other culverts have looked at funding through other programs such as Bridge NY. So in terms of the priorities, Reynolds Road culvert is the next on the list. And at the end of the proposal, I've provided 3 pictures to just give you a little reference of the condition.
Awesome, right? Awesome.
yeah.
It's not the word that applies to the culvert.
Reynolds Road was found to be hydraulically undersized, and Scott, you can speak up. I mean, that it's almost overtopped the road. From time to time, and maybe has recently. Yeah, that's
Yeah, like a couple of years ago, we had all that rain, it was pretty close. I don't remember. There's 2 colleges that stuck together, and it depends what we get, both of them are definitely.
so. Part of the proposed improvements in the report was to go to a 3-sided box culvert. So sometimes with the twin culverts, you end up getting logs, debris, things that build up. The actual stone abutment there seems to be failing. And the actual condition of the pipe is not getting better. The rivets and the bolts have severely corroded down to where you can see concrete on the interior. So part of the game plan and strategy that MRB and the town have been working through is applying through the WQIP program, which to support the case of the hydraulic capacity, have done a hydrologic and hydraulic analysis of that. And what we do is take the flows that were defined in the engineering report, run a model, a HEC-RAS model, which was developed by the Army Corps of Engineers. That gives us an existing conditions. By opening up that culvert to a 3-sided box culvert, we want to make sure that we're not going to negatively impact the downstream properties or make the situation worse by allowing more water down. So we set an existing base model and then run that model with our proposed culvert and assess the conditions. With Agard, there were some downstream channel improvements that needed to be made, a little bit above and beyond just replacing the culvert, but at least gives the town the roadmap of understanding of, okay, what's going to happen when we do this project. So this is the limits that we would plan to survey. So included in our proposal are three different phases: survey, the project approach, which is the hydraulic model and the engineering report. And then what we also included this time around was actually the application for the WQIP. Last year with Agard and Garrett Road, we actually came back separately for a proposal. So we lumped that all together. We set up into individual phases. I figured we'd come to the board one time. The WQIP application is typically CFA around like that June timeframe. So perfect time for survey. You know, the leaves aren't on the trees. That would allow us to do a month or 2 of the evaluation, come meet with the board or town members before we go ahead with the grant application. So that's the limits. This is Reynolds Road and Podunk Road, kind of defining where our project. The other thing is this survey. If the project were to be funded and move towards towards design, the survey would be used for exactly that. For the project. So here was the aggregate culvert. The blue hatch is actually the water at the defined 100-year flood condition. Shows the water overtopping the road, which was experienced. We go. Let's make a little bit of photos. And actually see that we were able to pass the water through the design of the culvert, not overtopping the road. Some water would likely bypass around. There's some restrictions on the model on how far you can take those limits, but confirmed A, our sizing of the culvert, B, our flood limits weren't going to impact the downstream properties, and allowed us to look at some channel improvements here, assuming an easement would be capable of taking to make sure that the proposed project all came together correctly. So, tonight the proposals, for $27,000, that's the survey, field work, model, report, and the WQIP application, that H&H analysis report would be submitted with the grant application. So we got the engineering report, and now got a hydraulic analysis. And I think that further strengthens the town's application for funding. And the proposed project for Reynolds Road, that had a total cost of $1.177 million, which would have a 25% local match.
Not making them any cheaper.
So where's the Reynolds Road culvert?
Reynolds and Podunk.
Where's that? So it's farther west.
So here's Reynolds and Podunk Road. This is where that twin culvert is.
Western side of Reynolds.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Podunk is the north-south road there.
Yeah, so
Okay.
And you're showing us this model, the Jacksonville AGARD would be the next step.
no, that's the exit. We're gonna try to follow that same approach that we did for Agard.
Yeah,
Implement it for Reynolds.
right.
And that would be,
Got
you know, to try to show what the deliverable or figures that
Got
would
it.
come out of
Okay.
it is, hey, here's the existing conditions, we're showing overtopping the road.
Right.
And then with the improvements, you know, our flood minutes hopefully have not gotten worse or won't impact other properties.
And that would be part of the next process, is that proposal, like where the water would overtop the road. I'm just,
That's
what
the
I'm
H
curious
and
is.
H.
Yeah, that's part of this service
Sure, okay,
is part of the H&H analysis. So
okay,
MRB, our sub-consultant, will go out and do the topographic survey. We'll then model those culverts, the
okay.
existing.
Yeah,
conditions.
I'm really just asking to understand the steps in the process
Yep.
and where we are.
So we would, if we get an authorized proposal, we'll work with
That's-
survey
Yep,
and,
that's, okay. That makes sense.
and then followed by the
That
desktop.
was on the other model. so,
And this
okay.
is work
Like-
that would have to be done before we did the replacing anyway. So, right.
Right. Yeah, that was recommended in the report, was to do the H&H analysis.
Because it has to be done before any repair to be done, or replacement to be done anyway. So doing it in the front end seems to be working out. We did this exact same process for AGARD, which probably helped us in our application round, that we already had that. It made it more shovel ready-ish.
Yeah.
As culverts can get.
It shows that we're serious about it too.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
not
that,
just,
yeah, that makes
we
sense.
picked a random culvert.
We
we
picked
did.
the culvert and said, hey, we'll get this money for that, right? Yeah.
Do you have any questions with that?
And I think it's important that we do it.
We have it budgeted. We have both the engineering work was budgeted for, as well as the grant application. So we worked with MRP in the fall and put numbers in budget that anticipated. We didn't know which lousy culvert was gonna get the gold star, but we knew one of them was, and so. Here we are. Any other questions?
And these, I mean, I guess just high level, I'd imagine that these should be able to stand up for them 3 to 4 years before we actually are able to get in there and construct. They're not looking very good. And I know that for Curry Road is really,
Yeah, I
really
mean, to
bad.
get into like structural analysis of the steel along the way, you know, I would think that 3 to 4 years, they should be able to go last. But the more they erode and wash the bank around that on the sides, I mean, that's where you can potentially impact the road. And if you lose the road, that's, you're not resetting those culverts.
That would be an emergency situation we don't want to find ourselves in. Yeah, but that's
There's
a
definitely
really,
emergency opportunities
Yeah.
if something come up.
that's a really good point. So like Matt said, we have received funding for Garrett and now AGARD. We got notification just last month or maybe January for AGARD. So these are, if we even if we received funding either later this year or early next year, we're talking about, to your point, 3 or 4 years out. It's not it takes you like 9 months to get into contract with TEC, so it's not. Yeah, go right.
3 years to review something with DOT.
Yeah. Yep. So, great. Any other questions? If not, we have a resolution. It's sitting with the town attorney right now, the contract. So, embedded in the resolution is just its final. Sometimes he's had minor tweaks in previous ones. So, I should be able to get that confirmed this week, but you're good to be good to go otherwise. So the resolution is resolved, the Ulysses Town Board authorizes the town supervisor to sign a contract with MRB Group pending approval by the town attorney for hydraulic and hydraulic.
Hydrological.
Hydrologic.
Thank you.
Hydraulic.
Like I'm saying the same word twice with a different enunciation. Evaluation of the Reynolds Road culvert and the application preparation for a consolidated funding application for WQIP 2026 for the amount of, I'm adding this in, sorry. And it was what, 27,000 flat. So Chris, would you mind adding in that 27,000?
And that is signed contract with MRB Group 4. Is that where it is?
Yes.
Or
I was just doing it for the consolidated funding application for WQIP 2026 for an amount not to exceed $27,000. So you just add that. So I will move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this?
My question is, are all these gonna be just given to MRB? Because this is enough that it should be bid out.
Well, no. So because they're professional services and we have an ongoing relationship with them and they went through a bidding process to become our town engineer and we've continued that contract, we don't have to.
Well, it doesn't necessarily follow.
I-
This 27,000 would fall into our procurement policy.
So I cleared this with the town attorney. If you'd like to talk to the town attorney about it,
Oh, sure, that'd be swell.
sounds great. You know
Yeah.
how to reach him, so feel free to reach out to him. Because it's professional services, I'm very well know, I'm sure that is a carve out and we do have an ongoing relationship.
Well, these are getting expensive enough that I feel what these should be bid out. Shouldn't be just handed to them carte blanche. Most of their contracts go over. They
That's
finish
not
very
true.
few contracts
That's
that
not
go
true.
on.
That is not true.
Yeah. So anyway, I feel it should be bid out.
Okay. Well, is there any further conversation? Then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. So, I'll connect you. You know how to reach Nate. I will get you a contract.
Okay.
Let's see if
Sounds
there's
good.
any further tweaks.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Sure.
Okay. Back to municipal board and staff reports. Why don't we start with committee chairs? Roxanne, was there anything you wanted to say? That was going on with your committee?
No, just that we're continuing to plan for the May, that is Earth Care Day, that be the way Earth Care Day, we settled on the third Thursday of the month at 7:30 for our meetings right now, that seems to be working. We're doing, Zoom when the weather's bad, and, no, we're still working on other things for the work plan, so. Nothing else besides that right now.
Can I because I'd like to put it on future upcoming events. Do you have, I remember it was when it was the True Ulysses.
Oh, yeah.
What's the exact name? So I
don't
do
think
it.
we have it yet, right?
Okay.
We were saying at this next meeting,
The
March
Earth
one.
Care Day?
yeah,
Oh, it was truly like TRU-ULY
and we,
Earth Care Day.
yeah, and we have a logo for it and stuff,
Awesome.
so I can send you that, we're gonna be working on it at our meeting on.
Yeah, so you just need the like.
Yeah, just for an item. Yeah, so I can just add it to my upcoming event. So Earth Care Day. Okay.
Yep.
And you said it's the 8th, did you say, or the second?
Second.
Second, sorry,
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
It's
No.
the same at the village, at the
Farmers
farmers
market.
market in the village, yes, sorry.
Great. Do you have times or is it time TBD? It's fine. if you
Oh, I
want.
think it's 10 to 1. I'll get you that. We went back and forth a
Possibly.
little. Right, and then Kate made the final reservation with Farmers market, so I'll get it to you. soon.
Sounds great. I have no expectation that the town agenda is the definitive way that people are getting information. So the closest we can get is great, but
Yeah.
your actual publication
Pretty sure 10 to 1, but
sounds good.
I'll let you know, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be talking about it a lot at our next week. So I'll have a lot more details coming.
Sounds great. Thank you. Comp Plan Steering Committee, Liz, we'll just do a round robin.
Yes, so we had a great working session on Saturday. The committee sat here for 4 hours on Saturday morning got a lot done. A lot of good discussions. We have an upcoming meeting tomorrow to continue any discussions and try to get this wrapped up. The next draft is anticipated to be released the 17th, with right now our last scheduled meeting the 25th, so that we'd all have a chance to review the draft before that meeting, and at that meeting decide whether it's ready for recommendation to the town board. So it would then be in our hands. But the committee's been working really hard these last couple of months trying to keep things moving and getting to a point. We've had some really good discussions, so it's been good.
Great.
We've had a lot of 2 folks sat with us the whole day on Saturday morning in the public. Yeah, it was very grateful for them. But if you still have comments, please send them.
Youth Commission.
Youth Commissions, we heard a lot about the plans for summer camp and the rollout of that and some of the preparation to reduce some of the tech glitches from last year and the challenges of the likely overwhelm of the system, right? That's coming as we continue to not have nature center camp, so that gap is still being filled by Ulysses. There's some updates to some of the smaller programs within the summer and some increase as much as possible to numbers of kiddos who can come and can enroll, and also some of the staffing numbers.
Mark, I think it's in the newsletter, but the camp registration opens up on next Saturday. This Saturday,
8 a.m.
3:14 at 8 a.m. If you want your child to get in, I would be on at 8 a.m. just to be sure.
Yep.
But like Steve said, there were a lot of glitches that occurred last year because of some unanticipated numbers of people.
Just the waves of people signing
hopefully
through and-
some of the kinks have been worked out with that system.
That's what it sounded like. That was the hope. It's hard to run it in advance.
Oh, it is, and actually I've been the guinea pig.
Oh, good.
So I have registered one of my kids like 5 times.
Excellent.
And they each get canceled, don't worry. I will be in Erie, Pennsylvania at 8 a.m. on the soccer field trying to register. So, it's a lot faster. So it's just gonna be, lots of people trying to access it.
And the camp you need to be 5 to join the camp. And it goes up to incoming 6th graders.
Yes.
So if you're a 6th grader now and your child's going into 7th grade next year, there is the senior camper that we have. And there'll be information, but it's a week program where they can come for a couple hours a day.
It's 3 hours and
3
then
hours
we're
rather than
working
the
with
whole
our
day.
youth services program to stand up additional programming like we did last year. For some of the days for the afternoons as well. So. Yep, trying to get as many youth in as possible. So.
And then I don't remember if there was a date, but spring rec sports will be opening up soon too. So that would be t-ball and track and tennis for the youth. And then the adult programs keep continuing.
That's right. Liz was also there at planning board, and I will talk about something on that later on the park donation update. I'm the village liaison, but I got a village report. Last night was the village board meeting. They've been dealing a lot with zoning updates, and they're expecting to have a lot of their zoning documents up on their website later this week. Their water meter read heads are reaching the end of their useful life, and so they're going to be planning on replacing them over the next 3 years. And water users will receive letters over that time to schedule with the DPW to get access to their water meters, similar to what our DPW did in our much smaller water district. The new meter heads can provide water use updates every 4 hours to help people better track their usage and any issues, and this will apply to water users outside the village as well. So this will impact there are quite a few homes on village owned water lines outside the village limits. So this will impact everybody who gets village water, including New York State Park and Titanic. The village passed their tax cap override like they do every year, like we do. Most years we haven't had to in the last couple, but and then they're moving a lot of their front office to the cloud and working to get their village code online and searchable. So I didn't realize what a big deal that was. Carissa did it like before I got here. That's a huge accomplishment to do it. So I'm just gonna shout out. It's
Go through all your old laws and. Yeah.
Huge project.
On some, a couple of fun things.
Did the board repeal any laws at that point?
Yeah, there were some that had to be, needed to be repealed because other things got passed and we forgot that something was already on the books.
Yeah.
Good activity.
So that's there, and I'm trying to think, Camp Barton, it's no longer Camp Barton. Three Falls LDC, met last week. And the big event was here, and we hosted the press briefing from New York State Parks here yesterday. And we have officially Three Falls State Park. So, that's the new finally approved name 18 months later, but we are grateful for it. And, there are in fact 3 falls. And I know people will have lots of questions. We have the LDC has the website threefalls.org. And so we'll be getting the draft concept plan that Fisher Associates put together for Three Falls. We got a grant just over a year ago. And they did a concept plan for us based on a lot of public feedback. There was a lot of community participation in that. And that plan is now going through state environmental, it's going through seeker. And so that'll take anywhere from 3 months to the rest of 2026, probably, but it does give us a document to start working with. And all the feedback I heard from the state was they were really happy with that document. So with the quality of it. It's going to help us because I'll be able to bring back to you, hopefully in the next couple of months, an MOU with possibly SUNY Cortland to start doing recreation planning for 2027. We have money budgeted for that we moved over in the last budget modifications. So that's what's shaken there. Any other updates anybody wants to make sure everybody hears?
Yes. Went to the Association of Towns. There was one of the highlights that I saw was there's Amazon as a purchasing program. I don't know if you're aware of it.
We've been.
Yeah, for the towns. There's Highway School from July 1st through 3rd. And the neat thing with that is they are developing a simulator truck for drivers that want to enhance their skills or move up, or if like Scott's looking for somebody new. And then what they're trying to do is get a simulator plow attachment for it, but that's like $60,000 to $70,000 to add that to the simulator. And that's supposed to be, it's at Ithaca College every year, so they're going to bring that this year. The ambulance service is becoming an essential service, past another hurdle. And then there was their proposed legislative priorities. I'm going to buzz through these real quick. They have 14 resolutions. This was the first time I've seen them. They were all unanimous. Preserve and support home rule. They have that every year. Maintain and increase AIM funding and temporary municipal assistance. Number 3 was support highway, bridge, and transportation funding. Number 4 was to create a dedicated funding program for municipal water and sewer infrastructure. Number 5 is increase the salary cap for retired public officials returning to public service. And then 6 is amend civil service rules to create more efficient hiring process for public employers. 7, provide towns with negotiation authority in pilot agreements that impact their tax base. That has to do with often with solar. 8 was reform inequities in the real property tax cap formula. 9 is support town services by authorizing new local revenue sources. Number 10 is establish a centralized statewide grant clearinghouse for local governments. Number 11 is increase competitive bidding thresholds under general municipal law. Number 12 is modernize public notice requirements, and that has to do with the newspapers and the demise of newspapers. 13 is support ways to reduce municipal health benefit costs, and everybody's seeing those. And number 14 is requiring comprehensive utility and telecommunications inventory reporting to local assessors. And that was a bigger one because of like power lines. And then as they're building some of these data centers, as they're feeding them with new services. And then there's NIPA has a big power line that's going from Canadian border down to New York City. And they're trying to keep track of those. And then what else was there? So then, I don't know, did you go to the new schools or the new public town board member school?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good. So what I got for you and Tom, actually. So I got you a package of stuff.
I get a goodie bag.
No, it's not just a goodie bag,
Oh,
but there's a
no?
lot of manuals in there. There's a lot of really good stuff for you town.
Those are goodies.
Yeah, towards town board, well, the goodie is probably a pen and a pad of paper in there.
Pad of paper right here. You were right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, and so that's a lot of some manuals that the comptroller's office
Yeah.
puts out.
Great.
And then they had these left over, so I thought I'd grab everybody one.
Oh, I got 2.
Oh, you got 2. The one for you.
Thank you.
Yep. It was a challenge.
Oh, thank you.
They tug on my heartstrings since my son's in the Navy. They always have challenge coins for the stuff they use. Oh, neat, an AOT challenge coin.
Nice.
So you can paperweight or something like that. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you much.
Okay. Old business. First item up is gonna look familiar to you, the standalone resolution, and get you a name, sorry. This is related to the adjacent property. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your time tonight. The adjacent property to the one that we looked at last month for doing an open development area. That's under review by all the different agencies that have to do that. This property also requested to be included as an open develop or designated as an open development area. So this is the next up. This is actually necessary also for the property who was first up to be able to get to do the necessary work to access their property once they go through an open development, if they go through an open area development designation. Does that make sense? Because of the steep slopes, they actually need to get across this
They need to
property.
do work
They
on
need
this
to do some
property.
grading in this property to do that, to get to the work on the other property.
And we heard about that last
Right.
time we talked about that particular parcel, right?
Yeah. So that's where we are right now. And if you had, just wondering if you had any questions about that.
If I remember correctly, we said that the owner who needs to redo the stairs could do some of the work while we were trying to like the emergency work, not the entire thing, but some emergency work to make sure the stairs were safely accessible. This won't hold that up either, right? Like they're still able to do that. It's just the full blown work effort with the regrading and the full replacement of the stairs that they need this for.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not holding.
Well, but to do the full work, they're going to need the access.
Yeah.
even with the project, so, but. So we as a town board aren't holding up anything. That's separate emergency building code
Okay. related
issues, so we have no discretion over that.
Yeah.
So this is, I'm moving them through the same process.
Yeah, no, I think we should keep that moving.
So.
Does this keep this new parcel, are they a step behind in this process? I'm just remembering back to, we're building this process as we're like making it, right? Because we're still talking about the open development. Are they a step behind, or are we bringing them up to the same spot in the process of?
They're still gonna be a step behind because all the letters have already gone out for the
Okay.
other property, so, but this, this was brought up at our last town board meeting,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
This will now, but then we will eventually all catch up together.
Sure.
But most likely they'll be about 30 days apart in practical terms. So, so a challenge is that the actual name of the attorney's last name is not clearly spelled out in the information. And so, I would say, whereas an agent, so we'd like to just modify this, whereas an agent for Carol Weisman submitted an application to the town's Ulysses board, the town attorney has already verified the deed for this individual. So it doesn't functionally change anything. I mean, they're gonna have to submit applications and things like that, and when they go through that process. So I would like to amend that just so as an agent on behalf of Carol Weisman. So then we can move it forward, but this will basically empower me to empower the town planner to just go through all the necessary environmental part 1 review. And then all that feedback will come back to us on the other side of hearing from, the sheriff's department and the various agencies that we need to. Make sense? It's literally the same resolution before, just tweaking it for 1195. Any questions? Chris, did you get the amendment I have to the language?
There's one word missing in the 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas. It says whereas the proposed action must be, I think it's supposed to be sent
Yeah.
or comment.
Available, is it available? Is it, what is, there's something? Just has to be for comment.
Yeah,
Okay, any other questions?
no.
Okay. So I will move this. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then the next item up is the annual town justice court audit. Tom Knipe and I on January 29th went through the court audit process, and everything was as it should be. All the things were doing their correct things in the final orders, and the numbers lined up. And there's a for Steve, for your edification, like the state court system provides a form that you go through. So you're not like making it up.
That's nice.
So there's a method to their madness of checking of what you should be looking for. And we're very fortunate to have a very well organized court. They were actually audited along with the town, the regular town administration back in 2021, and everything's flagged. So it's always good to see they're doing a good job. So this resolution means that the Ulysses Town Board accepts the satisfactory audit results of Ulysses Town Justice. Oh, there's an E missing from Justice Court as completed by Caitlin Olson and Tom Knight on January 29th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Not, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, at the final item of old business, at the last planning board meeting on a week ago, on the 3rd, the planning board unanimously approved the minor subdivision necessary to subdivide the Pritz land into a parcel that they can officially donate to the town. So it's very exciting. And yeah, so we are now in the process of going through the closing process. So documents, title has to be pulled, things like that, just the normal transactionatory is not a word.
Transactional.
Transactional process that we need to do for a real estate closing. So that's what's happening now, because all the donation agreement was accepted, all the conditions were accepted with it, and it was just, conditional upon going through the Board of Zoning Appeals. So I want to thank Liz in particular for she was in person for an EZA meeting when I was zooming in from California, and
Disneyland.
it was Disneyland, which is a harder spot to find a quiet place. But if anybody's been to Disney anything in recent years, you have to have a reservation well in advance, and those dates intersected. So I really appreciated Liz came to all the meetings that I was at too, and it was a team effort to get all the questions asked and answered. And I thought both the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Planning Board did a very good job. Really, it was not a rubber stamping by any stretch. They talked through the issues. They heard from the public. I think they did a very thoughtful job considering it and making sure that the procedures were appropriate. And I was impressed with the work that they did. So
I agree. The discussions were very good.
Yeah.
Some good questions and some things to think about in the future. So
absolutely. So when I have more to report on that, I will. Those things take a little while. Then moving on to new business, we already did item A. So item B is gatekeeper approval for United Way. Every year we apply to United Way for funding for youth services and recreation. This year's requests are actually coming in at about $6,000, but I just did it up to $7,000 just as a little bit of a buffer zone. And so it's just a resolve. The Ulysses Town Board authorizes the town supervisor or her designee to submit funding applications for youth services and recreation to the United Way of Tompkins County for up to $7,000. So I'm willing to move that.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the final item is we appointed Rich Goldman to serve on the Finance Committee. And one thing that he now needs is in order to serve because he's in he's in investment banking and things like that. And so they have other regulations that must be followed. And so he needs a letter from us in order to serve, stating that his service will not impact any future relationship the town may choose to pursue with Morgan Stanley. I feel very comfortable saying that because we have no ability to do any business with Morgan Stanley by the nature of being a town. So there are a lot of strict regulations over how you can invest your money. And we have our money invested with NICLAS. It's not to say we couldn't conceivably invest with Morgan Stanley. So it's not knocking them at all. Like there's probably a pathway to do it with the bigger investment firms, but we have very much picked a trajectory that we were investing locally with bank. And then it made more sense for us to move to NICLAS, which is they only serve municipalities and school board and things like that. So they don't serve the private sector at all. So I don't think this will have any functional impact in 2026. But I wanted to get authorization before I submitted a letter to that effect.
Have we done this before?
So
Or because now it's a little different.
I think it's now because it's a little bit different.
He's not.
So.
Okay.
So I thought his appointment was for the Three Falls Board.
No, he's on the Finance Committee. Liz and I are on Three Falls.
Yeah, I thought I remember the discussion that he was going to do Three Falls. So I'm not in favor of this for him being on the Town Finance Committee because that's what we're supposed to do. Is we're supposed to be financially responsible for the.
You did vote for him to be on the Finance Committee at the organizational meeting.
Well, as I recall, it was talking about Three Falls. But
definitely not. Liz and I are appointed to that board.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember who the other person on the Finance Committee, but I think the thought was that Rich brought so much to the Finance Committee for the last couple of years as serving on it as town board. member and so forth. I for one don't feel comfortable serving on the finance committee. Would be able to talk about investments. I mean, I could talk about budgets and so forth, but investments and opportunities for that, I trust Rich. So, I mean, we did vote for him to be on the finance committee. I can't remember who the other person was.
It's Steve and
Steve. Oh,
It's
there
me.
you go.
I'm right here. Yeah, it's me.
Blixie.
Right, yeah, so remember Blixie, so, I mean, he's just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, it's a stretch though, going outside the town board for the finance committee.
But they're also just they're an advisory board, so they're
Right,
making
but they
recommendations
were
to
town board
us.
members. It was still a stretch that they were town board members. And now it's really a stretch that he's no longer a town.
What do you
member.
mean they're stretched as town board members?
It's, oh, I gave you a booklet. The town board is supposed to be fiscally responsible for the town.
Right,
And so
They-
you start,
but they're an
Statute.
advisory board, so they just provide recommendations to us, we can say yes or no. So it's whatever their decision is or their thought, we don't have to take it, so I still think
Right.
that the final line comes to us, which is, like you said, required by state law. But
Is your desire or thought that the board would serve in effect as the full finance committee? There would not be a separate finance committee?
that's what the board is.
Okay,
The board's responsibility is
Right.
fiscal responsibility for the
Right.
town.
No, but
when was the
finish?
yeah, but
The
when was
finance committee's been around since 2022 or 2022.
And they've provided recommendations on how to change investments. They went through and looked at this New York class when we made that switch last year.
They worked on the investment
The
policy.
investment policy,
The
those
fund balance
numbers
policy.
with the fund balance that we were able to modify this year to ensure that the town is acting appropriately and working with the money that we got.
But in the same way, the youth commission makes recommendations for how youth programming is managed. Youth commission doesn't get to decide, and the finance committee doesn't get to decide. They're not imbued with any power. They simply are more experts in the field making recommendations.
Knowing that and being an advisory board, I think I'm fine with it still, but
I will move it. I'll move the resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
aye.
Opposed?
Nay,
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Next up, we have upcoming events. Tomorrow night is the comprehensive steering committee that will be opening public hearing for a bit. And then we have our regular town board meeting on the 24th. And then the state of the town is going to be held on April 11th, Saturday. So please reach out to me if there's a particular item you want to make sure is addressed. There will be a formal is probably the wrong word, but an organized presentation. PowerPoint and things like that. So if you'd want to make sure a topic of your heart is included, please let us know. We're going to be hitting on all the departments. There's just a tremendous amount going on. I'm going to make sure that we have copies of this information there, and committees and things will have an opportunity to have stuff out if they so choose. But we'll have a spread out and hopefully get some good information out while it's still light winter. And most likely. Okay.
Early spring.
It all depends on one's perspective, I think. Well, we'll see what the day says.
Yeah.
I've shoveled snow. My car I had a newborn and my little Civic got stuck on the side of a road in my former town, and they had snow plowed and they pushed the snow up against the car.
Oh,
And I didn't have a shovel in my
Oh,
car. And so it was quite the adventure. So I've learned to be cautious about weather. Okay, approval of the minutes. We had minutes from February 10th. posted. Did anybody need any alterations to those?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And then board notification, in order to close on the Smith Woods donation that the town board's already approved. I authorized the expenditure of $4,500 to TG Miller for an abstract to be completed. We obviously have to have an abstract. PRI looked for months for the abstract that they had previously and were unable to lay hands on it. They went through a sizable downsizing of staff, and I think that just made it overly complicated, and so that we could move along at a reasonable pace. Our procurement policy, I'm authorized to spend up to 6,000, but I have to do board notification over 3. So consider yourself notified. We do not have any budget modifications. We do have payment of audited claims. Thank you for our new payment reviewers. Did you have anything you wanted to raise or had questions about?
No, so a lot of our normal payments and then some, and I'm doing this off the first go round. A lot of our funding checks seem to be like all the different, like the library and support for programs there and other things that, I caught. So I'll be interested to learn more what they do and the process by which that was decided and worked into the budget as we sit through it next go round.
Yeah, it's, we made a decision to select March as a reasonable time to push the money out because it's helpful in people's individual budgets. Our revenue's already in for the year, so it doesn't have a budgetary impact on us. And starting back then, I want to say it's either 2020, I think it was 2021. We started going through, Chris, is that right? I know it was when Nancy was here.
Yeah, we were.
It was 21 because Nancy was here when we started it. We put together an application process that year. Prior to that, the town board was just, I don't know, but they were giving money to some organizations, and we decided to evolve that into an actual application process. And so every year groups will, in the summer, it's usually due in early August, have an opportunity to apply for funding for specific things. And we've been able to fund a range of activities from, support for childcare, scholarships, to Meals on Wheels for seniors to gad about. So lifelong, we've got we hit everyone from like 18-month children all the way up to senior citizens in our community. So, so I would love for you to be a part of the committee that we end up having a committee review and make recommendations, and then it comes to the full town board for approval. So,
and are those funds, I'm sorry, the funds, so if the applications come in August, there's a process and approval. And then, so most of those are released now in March, or are there more to come? Have there's already been some that have gone out?
These are all the community funding ones. The only
Okay, so it's just the time.
So there's some that get like it's funny because there are some that are service providers
Sure.
that are come at a different time.
Right.
Like, so Jacksonville Community Park, we have an MOU with.
Okay.
So theirs isn't in that.
Well, they
group.
went out
Yeah.
there.
As soon as I said that, they submitted the receipts. Community Science Institute.
Yep.
We have a contract with them, so that gets paid at their contract.
Okay.
This is largely the people who applied for us, and we have a much more like, we have a contract with them, but it's not like necessarily a contract for professional services
Yeah.
or an MOU.
That
Those
makes
come
sense.
separately.
That makes sense.
Oh,
The library is not really part of the funding process in the same way.
Okay.
You want me to send you the applications?
Sure. Well, yeah.
yeah, so the youth commission reviews part of the library, and then the library is reviewed by the whole town board, but it's it's more of a standard.
Yeah, I noticed there were two different payouts, if you will, to the libraries.
Yes.
There's-
One's a
Caught
summer
that,
reading
yep.
program, and then one which the youth commission made the recommendation on last year.
Yeah.
For the funding amount, and then the regular contribution to the library.
Sure. Does the village also contribute to the library? Do we know?
They certainly were. I don't know the current status. The only reason I say that is there was a bit of a controversy a couple years And I don't really want.
I don't wanna
put
do
my
any
input
lie.
in anybody else's.
Okay, then I will
I
withdraw my
believe they
question.
are, but I don't wanna, yeah, so, but I try to, Laura from the library comes in, I'd like to bring her in again this year.
Sure.
We've had her come in 2 years, like, I like to have her on a 2-year cycle,
That
just to
makes
get us updated, but then also you don't feel like I'm coming every year, because I think a lot of people really know what the library contributes, but it's always good to
Yeah.
remind people, so.
Definitely.
We give everybody an opportunity to present and if they want to, and
Great.
so we had folks present last year. And there were some folks who we did not choose to fund, and we've been looking at ways to partner with those organizations in other ways that are not direct funding.
Okay.
Because building relationships, I think, is really critical.
Definitely.
Because there's never enough money for everybody, so.
Mhm.
Okay, great questions. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. So the payment of audited claims resolved, the Ulysses Town Board approves payments of vouchers 83 to 145 in the A through SW funds totaling $178,540.44. I'll move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And that brings us back full circle to privilege of the floor. Okay, is there anybody, sorry, I'm getting my timer anymore. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead.
Actually, the CSI, I have two things, actually, the CSI thing reminded me that. I saw Grayson, the director of the Community Science Institute, at a meeting about a month and a half ago, and she gave me a flyer, which I totally forgot about, but I'll bring it and give it. Bring it up to the board, but they are launching a new kind of water testing program, and I think that they're having a needs-based scale to some of it. She told me some about it because we had talked to her when we wrote that proposal. When you were taking suggestions on the ARPA funds with them, and so she knew we were interested in it, and the DOH people who did the well sampling for our drinking water activity there did some of their analyses there. Anyway, she said that she'd be happy to come sometime and present on that if the board thought that that would be interesting. And at any rate, I'll just gather some more information about it, and I told her I would bring it to the board and let them know. And so then a totally different thing, but just in sitting here, I thought it was an interesting and surprising announcement that Tom Knight has stepped away from the board, and the board didn't mention anything about what they're doing for the replacement process. And so I just thought that might be a good thing for the public to know, or if you started to consider it.
No,
Just happened.
his announcement was official yesterday,
it's
so.
kind of surprising.
So,
Still
no.
thinking.
Well, I think that's gonna have to be a whole process. We had a process created before, but
Right.
it didn't seem reasonable to pick it up tonight, so.
Yeah, okay.
We'll have a meeting in 2 weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No doubt it'll be on the agenda.
Okay, just wondering. I don't know, just wondering if you knew what you're thinking about it. Else it was a surprise.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Well, there's nobody online. And I don't think anybody else in person wants this. Okay, so I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. 8:13, easy peasy.
So.